Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by The Diamond.
Oh, that reminds me of a joke.
Let's hear it.
Why was the diamond invited to dinner by the archaeologist?
I don't know. Why?
He had a passion for carbon dating.
This must be a big case we're headed for, Inspector.
Well, you're right in a way, Stokes. I've known old Sherry, the man who's been murdered, for a long time.
Isn't he the guy who owned a lot of diamonds?
Yes, he had several very valuable ones in his collection. And I think somebody killed Sherry for those diamonds.
Any idea who?
We'll find that out after we get inside.
Oh, hello, Inspector Crothers. I'm glad you got here so soon.
Oh, hello, Dr. Matthews. I brought Sergeant Stokes along to help.
Fine. Come on in, won't you? The man who phoned me, Mr. Sayers, is in the study where they found Sherry.
We'll come along after you, Doctor.
Inspector Crothers, this is Mr. Sayers who found Mr. Sherry unconscious when he came in.
How do you do, Mr. Sayers?
Holy Moses, look at this place. Looks as though a cyclone had struck it.
Now, tell us what happened, won't you, Mr. Sayers? I'd like to get the story straight.
Well, in a very confidential capacity, I represent a large diamond buying syndicate. Mr. Sherry was known to have a very extensive collection of gems, one specimen in particular that our firm wanted to buy.
And you were sent to see if he would sell it?
That's right. I made an appointment with Mr. Sherry for this evening. He said to come here and that he might be back here in the study and not hear the bell. If no one answered, I was to come right in. He would leave the door unlocked for me.
Isn't that a rather strange thing for a man to do who has a valuable collection of diamonds in his house?
Well, I thought so at the time, but I thought also that Mr. Sherry was perhaps, well, eccentric. You see, I'd never met him, nor, as a matter of fact, heard of him until yesterday. I come from another part of the country, you see.
And he was alone?
Completely. You can imagine how shocked I was at finding Mr. Sherry lying on the floor by the desk, unconscious, and the room all upset.
When Mr. Sayers phoned me, I imagined that Sherry was suffering from one of his chronic attacks. However, I find that the man has been hit at the base of the skull by a powerful blow, breaking his neck and killing him instantly.
You say you were familiar with Mr. Sherry's chronic attacks, Doctor?
Yes, I've been Mr. Sherry's personal physician for many years.
That was why I phoned Dr. Matthews, Inspector. I knew that he would be able to offer the best help.
Mr. Sayers, your theory is a very nicely calculated one. In fact, I would have acted on it if it hadn't been for one thing. As it is, though, I'm holding you for the murder of Mr. Sherry and for the attempted theft of his diamond collection.
What mistake did Sayers make that caused the inspector to hold him on a definite charge of murder? In just a moment, we'll tell you, but first...
You know, Khalil Gibran once said, perhaps time's definition of coal is the diamond.
Very nice, but that has nothing to do with this case.
Are you sure?
Yes, since you are quite renowned for making incredibly asinine statements of such stupidity that even the ignoramus dunderhead knows it. A better question would be, how did he know, the doctor?
Long lost pals?
Were you born stupid?
Are you always this cruel-minded?
Yes. In fact, it's my job.
And now, back to our 5-minute mystery.
Hold me for murder? Why, Inspector, I told you...
I know, Mr. Sayers, you told me a little too much. When you said you had never met Sherry, nor heard of him until a day ago, everything was fine. But when you said you called his personal physician purposely, you caught yourself. If you knew nothing about Sherry, you couldn't have known who his personal physician was.
Say, Inspector, that's pretty clever. Pretty clever.
Well, another case solved.
At least it made sense, unlike your diamond quote.
I'll have you know that Kahil Gibran is quite the renowned author.
I am aware. What puzzles me is how you know of him.
I am quite well read, you know.
Oh, then he writes children's books.
Is that you say?
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. On the show today, we have some good stuff. First, we review a new audiobook series titled Free Trader. It takes you into the world of the Golden Warrior, who is a killer sentient cat. Then we have a story sent in by Hoyt, who has a haunted house in the Appalachian Mountains. Our featured story comes from the classic old-time radio series, Lights Out. Two magicians battle for control of a zombie. Strange stuff. This past week I had an encounter of my own. I like to shop for groceries online at Walmart and then go pick them up. Been doing this since the lockdown of 2020. While waiting my turn, a car pulled up next to me and the person inside waved to get my attention. It turns out that he was one of the guys I used to go Bigfoot hunting with in the mid-90s. We got to talking, and he made an interesting omission to me. Back in the day, I would go about once a month with a group into the woods near Amboy, Washington. It was quite the deal. There would be coffee and snacks, and we would spend the night trying to contact and find evidence of Bigfoot. For this party, each person would pay a $100 membership dues. Well, my guy told me the whole thing was a sham. That's right, they would put people out in the woods to make fake Bigfoot sounds. I had no idea at the time. Needless to say, this has taken my belief in the big guy to a more skeptic mode. However, the one saving grace here is the stories sent in by you guys. I guess I have to believe that there's still something to this whole Sasquatch thing. But learning that I had been shammed is, well, disappointing. Now, let's get to the show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Well, again, I've found a hidden gem. I always look at Audible's free content and mark books that I think I might enjoy. I clicked Free Trader some time ago, and it's taken a while to get to it. On episode number 623, I reviewed a book called Starter Villain. One of the main characters was a sentient cat named Hora. So I thought since that one was a hit, perhaps Free Trader series by Greg Martel would be just as fun, and as it turns out, it is. With a vision of a world free from war, a cat and his human minions set out to change humanity. The key word here is cat. This epic tale of 3 books follows the adventures of Braden, Micah, and the Golden Warrior, the cat, as their travels take them through the wasteland to the mystical south of Planet V. This one was a very different story and was written more like a fable. I was drawn in by the main character's positive yet naive outlook on the world. But as the story progressed, it became surreal as the message of the book became quite clear. Gotta tell you, I really enjoyed it. Here's a clip from the opening of Book 1 called Free Trader of Warren Deep. The story begins with Braden and G-War as they're trying to find their way, make one more trade, and set themselves up for life. Here's the clip.
Ass! You are such an ass! Braden lay by the fire in the blanket he'd been using since he was a child. The young man's long braid was wrapped around his neck like a scarf. He looked at the hill cat, a scowl darkening his face. It makes noises, but no sense, the cat responded over their mind link. The cat's orange back, even with a man's knee, had black dots and a black slash toward his tail. He was called a hellcat by those who'd seen him make a kill, but not by Braden, his most loyal friend. When he was a child, Braden saved a hillcat kitten from drowning. At that moment, they bonded, and instantly, Braden knew he had a lifelong partner. Many called the joining the ultimate pairing of friendship and joy. It hadn't taken long before Braden's bond with the cat felt like the relationship his parents had. Together their entire adult lives, annoyance, bickering, surrender, friendship, then more bickering, and intertwined throughout was a fierce loyalty. The old man would say anything about his partner, but if anyone else said something, the fight was on. Braden called the cat an ass 10 times a turn of the sun, but they fought their enemies together. They were there for each other. And so it was, the relationship between a hill cat, called Golden Warrior of the Stone Cliffs, or simply G-War, as Braden called him. The hill cat had his own name, but even after 10 cycles of the seasons, he hadn't told Braden what it was. He insisted that Braden wasn't mature enough to know his true cat name. As Braden glared at the cat, G-War raised one paw in his mocking way of giving Braden the finger. The cat turned around a couple times, sniffing the air, then faced away from the young man and dropped to the ground. G-War's head was up, sphinx-like, his eyes closed. The cat cut their link. The cat listened in on Braden's thoughts, but Braden only heard what the cat wanted him to hear. I hate it when you do that, Braden retorted, but knew that he could sleep now, without fear of surprise, as he did every night when the cat watched over him. Without G-War, Braden would have never survived his life as a free trader in Warren Deep.
What made me mark this one was not only that the main character was a cat, but that it included the first 3 books of the series. There are a total of 9 so far. Each book is about 8 hours in length, which is a manageable time commitment. Book 2 is called Free Trader of Planet V, and Book 3 is called The Adventures on RV Traveler. Now, at this point, I've only finished Book 1, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to all 9 before I'm done. They're just that good. A cat and his human minions fight to bring peace to all humanity. Oh, and it's written for folks from age 13 to 90. You're going to find compelling characters engaged in an adventure of search, conflict, and discovery. One more thing that made this really nice to listen to were the short chapters. This made listening to it while taking breaks or short walks a real thing. Overall, the Free Trader series is worth anyone's time that loves a good adventure with a sentient cat. Now, if that appeals to you, head to Audible Trial/Ron's Amazing Stories, and you can have the first 3 books of the Free Trader series for free. Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out the service. You can stream or download thousands of included audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals in the Plus catalog. There is so much to do at Audible that you'll never run out of content. So, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/ Ron's Amazing Stories. Thank you, Audible.
These are your stories. Special edition.
Welcome to These Are Your Stories. You might be asking, how is this different from the other segment? The answer is simple. These are special. But what makes them that way? Again, the answer is simple. They deserve special treatment. It may be the content of the story or how the story was obtained. Or it could be that the storyteller himself or herself is actually here in person. No matter the how, why, or where, what you'll hear in this segment is gonna be special. We have an epic tale this week that comes from Hoyt Maynard Jensen. He posted this on the website with the title, The House in the Appalachian Mountains. I had to edit this one a lot, but I got Hoyt's full approval for it, so here is his story. I figure the best way to start is by stating that this is a collection of stories that I have experienced throughout my 27 years of living in the Appalachian region of rural Southwest Virginia. Some may have just been feelings, while others have left me unable to be outside after dark, which, as many of you may know, is something you never want to do if you live deep in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm just saying. First, I'll go back to when we first started living in the house that we currently live in. In the grand scheme of things, this house really isn't all that old. If I remember right, it was built somewhere around the late 60s or early 70s. My grandparents bought the house, and my mother and Papa moved a trailer onto the property for us to live in. My dad had just died in a train derailment. At that time, most of the family were skeptics. But not my granny or myself. She would tell me stories that made my toes curl. At first, the events weren't bad. Mainly, things being moved, shadows out of the corner of the eye, strange smells and sounds, but nothing I would call bad. Just strange. I vaguely remember my mom always brushing Granny off, telling her about the strange smells and other things happening. Until one day, she was by herself at the house. My brother and I were at school, Granny was at work, and my papa was around the property on his ATV doing outside stuff. Something to know, the land is a few acres with a creek running about halfway through it, splitting the land that we lived and worked on from the land that is almost entirely mountainside. The trailer sat at the very edge of the property by the creek. There was about a quarter of an acre of land between the house and the trailer. Now back to the story. My mother, who was home alone, started smelling something like men's aftershave. Now you could potentially mark that up to my papa, except that he didn't wear anything like that when he was alive. Not that he didn't like it, that stuff just never smelled good on him. Granny always said, "Anything that smells good always rotted on your papa, even as a baby." So, it wasn't him. Besides, he was at the other end of the property. She just couldn't figure out where this clove-like smell was coming from. Things went on like that for a long time. Objects being moved, the smell of man's aftershave, all of it. Finally, and I don't know what prompted it, but my grandparents decided to get the house wiring checked out. Turns out that the house had been wired with the same type of stuff that were used in coal mines, and a lot, if not most, of the wires were bad. Strangely, once the wiring was fixed, all the strange happenings in the house and property stopped. Granny says to this day that the previous owner was just looking out for us. Now we're going to skip forward a few years. By this time, my mother had given up custody of me and my brother to our grandparents. I was still at an age where playing outside in the dirt and creek is the most fun that a southern child can have. I made myself a little fort across the creek in a little thicket. It was a good, quiet place for a child to play, and it was good for a while. Then came the feeling of being watched. I brushed it off and began building a roof out of tarp. I was putting up some poles at the center when the whole thing just flew away. Not a speck of wind about, and it landed a good 10 feet away. I was terrified. I looked around for my brother, but he was nowhere to be found. Then a voice came out of the woods. It was a deep, scary voice, and I have no idea what it said, but I knew it didn't want me there. I ran to the house and told Mama. My brother was there eating a peanut butter sandwich. I never found out what it was, nor have I gone back to that little spot that I used to play in. Even approaching the area gives me a sense of dread and apprehension that I've never been able to shake. A few years later, my brother and I decided to make the attic into a clubhouse. We wanted to decorate the room, so we went to a local flea market where I bought a clock, a painting, and a Yasmin throw rug. Now, before these items entered into the house, it had been quiet ever since the rewiring. Afterwards, doors opening on their own, items being moved again, my cat refusing to leave my side, things went missing only to show up in other rooms, sleep paralysis, a tall dark shadow moving in the hallway, strange voices. It was awful, and a time in my life that I never want to revisit. One night, I distinctly remember lying in bed with the cat. My light was on and I had my CD player blaring music, the usual teen thing. When out of nowhere, it felt like something kicked the edge of my bed. I'm not talking about a light kick, like someone's trying to get my attention. I'm talking hard enough to scoot the bed several inches to the side. I jumped out of bed and ran into the hallway, screaming. It took me several weeks to get over that one. Another night I was back in bed with my door cracked open because, of course, I had the room with no windows. I've always had a slight fear of the pitch black. I was there on my side, so my face was facing the door. Now, something to know about me is that I have awful vision. Without my glasses, I can only see clearly a few inches in front of my face. This doesn't mean, however, that I can't see movement. The door moved, and a black figure stood at the doorway. It just stood there for 5 minutes, and then just floated towards me and vanished. For the record, it's far more terrifying to only be able to see a dark blur moving towards you than to clearly see what that blur is. Now we skip forward a bit more in time. I'm an adult now and have had many more experiences on that property in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. Everything from hearing a woman outside in the middle of the night in January calling, "Hello?" over and over, to being outside in the evening and getting the overwhelming feeling that if I didn't get inside immediately, something was going to attack me. And it didn't help that the crickets outside went quiet at the same time. But I love this old house and the property it sits on. My grandparents moved to the city, and now it's just my wife and I. We are planning on raising kids here, and that is okay. That's it for my experiences. Long-winded, I'm sure, and there are things that I have left out as that I'm at work and I don't have time to write more than I have. But I hope that you all enjoyed my retelling of my life experiences. One more thing. My wife is ghost sensitive. My papa died last year, and she tells me that he's here now on the property. She says that he has sworn to protect us. Good to know. Hoyt Maynard Jensen, the Appalachian Mountains. Well, Hoyt, that is quite the story, and I want to thank you so much for sharing it with us today. It was a pleasure to read it. Thank you. Well, that's all we have time for. If you have a story that you want to share, Head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com. Click on the story submission banner, leave your story, give it a title, and please tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story is a strange one from the demented mind of Arch Obler and the OTR series, Lights Out. We've had battles of many kinds on the show, but today is a first. Two magicians battle for the control of a zombie. This is a fascinating story that I must confess I found quite creepy. Maybe it was just the voice acting, but that wouldn't be the truth. The concept of zombies completing unspeakable acts have been the stuff of nightmares, and I have to admit, is quite terrifying. The story is called The Battle of the Magicians, and it first aired on July 27th, 1946. Just a bit of a warning, you may never want to fly again.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Lights Out. Everybody. This is the witching hour. It is the hour when dogs howl and evil is let loose on a sleeping world. Sit in the dark now and listen to Lights Out.
But, Mr. Saladin, is it true?
True? What makes the thing true, Irene? Because you believe in it? Or because a million others believe in it? Or, I can tell you this. The Penal Code of Haiti contains a section promising death to any who create zombies. And if the sober lawmakers of the country believe enough of it to put it into their books of law, well then...
But it's impossible to raise the dead, Mr. Saladin.
Impossible? I wonder. The folklore of every country is full of tales of bringing the dead back to life, bringing them back to serve the living. There are tales of vampires, ghosts, werewolves.
But they're superstitions. Surely you don't...
Who am I, my dear Irene, to say where truth ends and superstition begins?
I'd like to know some more about zombies.
I've told you all that is known of them. How they are living, yet not living, dead. How they are summoned from the grave by the black magic of some sorcerer. How they must do his bidding until he wearies of them.
But must these poor dead people... Well, I mean... Isn't there ever any rest for them? Can't they...
Can they not die again? Yes, there is a way. Zombies eat, you know, even as human beings do. But only when they are fed. They will not seek food for themselves. And if they eat salt, if anything containing salt so much as passes a zombie's lips, then he must return forthwith to his grave.
Oh, but Mr. Saladin...
That's the tale, Irene. I do not make it up.
But...
Look you. These creatures of the darkness, these unholy beings of superstition, they must obey laws. Nature has its laws, so there are laws of the supernatural. Immutable laws that all its creatures must obey, even as we creatures of nature must obey ours. You speak of superstition.
But superstition is just belief.
Ah, it is so. But we have been taught only in recent years to believe in certain things that science has learned. The germ theory of disease, for example.
But that's true, Mr. Saladin.
Perhaps, yes. I do not deny it. There's ample proof. There's also ample proof of the existence of supernatural beings, if one will take the trouble to look for it.
Not proof.
Proof indeed. But, it appears we have a visitor, Irene.
Yes, sir. I'll see who it is, Mr. Saladin. Mr. Joseph Warner, president of Acme Airlines, Mr. Saladin.
So? Show him in then, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Saladin will see you, Mr. Warner.
Thank you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Warner.
You're Saladin?
Saladin, yes.
You're some kind of detective.
Some people have been, shall I say, kind enough to describe me as an investigator.
I hear that you're good.
Thank you. Won't you sit down? And so you have come to consult me about the recent wrecks of your airplanes, Mr. Warner.
How did you... Oh, yes, the newspapers, of course. Well, that's right, Mr. Saladin.
So?
You read about that one yesterday?
Yes.
14 killed, including the crew of 3. Absolutely no explanation for it.
Except what you know, Mr. Warner.
Well, what?
I said except what you know about it.
What do you mean
You
by...
would not have come to me, Mr. Warner, unless... Well, suppose you explain.
I'd like to know how you knew that.
It is my business, sir. Yes, Irene?
The window washer, Mr. Saladin. Can he come through your office?
Very well. One moment, Mr. Warner.
Excuse it, please. I got to get the windows washed.
That is a job I would not like very well, I'm afraid, Mr. Warner. But to your business. You, received a warning,
Yes, I received it. How did you know that?
I have some knowledge of the ways in which Dr. Ehrlich works, Mr. Warner.
Ehrlich? That's the name.
I was rather certain. You may read the letter. It was a letter, I assume.
Yes. There were 2 of them. The first one a week ago. It said, this Dr. Ehrlich had need of $100,000, and the letter warned if I didn't come across, one of our ships would be wrecked.
And you assume this was, what does one say, a crank letter, and did nothing about it?
That's right. We get a lot of fool letters.
And because you took that attitude, 14 people are dead. Horribly dead.
Yes.
You said there were 2 letters.
Yes, here's the other one.
Today, the tornado. Take warning. And Erlich's signature. The tornado was the name of the airplane that crashed.
Yes, John Elliott was piloting it. The oldest, safest pilot on the line. I can't understand it.
I can, Mr. Warner.
You can?
Tell me, when did you receive this letter?
Not 5 minutes before the flash came that the tornado had crashed.
He timed it very well.
Yes,
Did you make any effort to trace this letter?
No, well, there was so much excitement around the office.
Of course. And so what do you wish me to do?
I haven't given this to the police, Mr. Saladin. The publicity, you know. People would think it's easy to smash one of our airliners. You understand?
Yes. You wish me to find Ehrlich, to...
What you do with him, Mr. Saladin, is no concern of mine, provided no more such things occur.
Mr. Warner, I know Ehrlich of old. His life is forfeit 1,000 times older. But you yourselves have an old proverb. First catch your rabbit.
You catch him, Saladin. It'll be worth your while.
Yes. Yes, it will be very much worth my while, my friend.
Can you get to work at once, Mr. Saladin? You can understand. We're upset.
I understand. I promise nothing, Mr. Warner, except that I will try. No man may do more.
Oh, that's all that I can ask. You'll go after him, then?
It is agreed.
Good. You, have a cigar? What's this?
Let me see that. Let me see it.
How the devil did that get in my pocket?
Read it yourself, Mr. Warner.
Oh, yes, sir. You have been very foolish to go to Saladin. Now your fate is sealed. I will destroy your airplanes one by one. And when the time comes, yourself. I have fought with Saladin before, as he well knows. This time is the last, Ehrlich.
So, my friend, you have brought upon yourself.
He knows. How could he?
Down on the floor, quick! Score 1 for Saladin, I think.
But what
Our delightful friend, the window washer. I just caught sight of... Let us see what has happened.
Good Lord, Saladin, do you think...
Observe. A crowd gathers in the street below. Morbid gazers on sudden death.
O'clock, Mr. Saladin.
Thank you, Irene. If you are ready.
You won't hurt me, Mr. Saladin.
I give you my word, Irene.
I'm afraid.
You need have no fear. No harm can come to you while I live.
I do want to help you, Mr. Saladin. Only
Listen to me one moment, Irene. Of 50 girls who applied for this position, I selected you. I've not told you why.
No, I never could understand.
It was for one reason, Irene. You have the little, oh so very little, psychic spark that is lacking in all the other ones who came. You do not know it yourself, but Saladin knows. I must use you, but I shall not unless you consent wholeheartedly.
I'll do it, Mr. Saladin. I trust you.
You will not lose by it, my child. Look, then, we have a little time. Sit here. Sit comfortably. So, now we begin. Look into the crystal. Look deep into it, my child. Say over and over to yourself, early, early,
Early,
early,
early, early. Ehrlich. Ehrlich.
Go and seek
Ehrlich.
out the soul of Ehrlich the magician while he sleeps.
Ehrlich.
Go and find him, Irene.
Ehrlich.
Find Ehrlich. Find Ehrlich. Search deep in the crystal globe. Ehrlich.
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 Who calls Ehrlich?
It is I, Saladin, that calls Ehrlich.
What do you want, Saladin?
You will tell me where I shall find you, Ehrlich.
No, I shall not.
You will tell Ehrlich.
No.
I am master of your soul that wanders now while your body sleeps, Ehrlich. You will tell me where to find you.
I will not.
Tell me.
No. No.
Tell me.
In the tower. In the tower. I will not tell more.
You will, Ehrlich. Tell me.
In the tower. The highest tower of all.
Ah. And where is it, this tower?
I will not tell more. I will not.
Tell, Ehrlich.
I will not. I will not tell.
I say you shall, Ehrlich.
I will not tell. Beware. Your power wanes now, Saladin.
Be sure you will not remember what you have told Ehrlich when you awake.
I will remember.
By the 5 names I commanded, Ehrlich, you will not remember.
I will not remember.
Ehrlich. Ehrlich. Ehrlich.
Awake now, Irene. Awake, Irene. Awake.
Are you all ready now, Mr. Saladin?
Just sit quietly and rest, my child. So, Ehrlich, I think perhaps we shall have a little talk together.
Hello, LeBlanc in Trip 5. Radio check, please.
KCT to LeBlanc and Trip 5 on the line. Okay.
LeBlanc to KCT. How are you, Shorty?
KCT to LeBlanc. Okay, Frenchie. Who's your pilot today?
LeBlanc to KCT. I do not know yet. Charlie Butler is sick all of a sudden. That is what I wait for.
KCT to LeBlanc. Better see your records are straight before you take off, Frenchy.
LeBlanc to KCT. That is not my business, Shorty, my friend. I am just co-pilot. I pull up the landing gear, sometimes land. I just go along for the ride.
KCT to LeBlanc. Okay, Frenchy. Jazz your motors when your pilot's ready. I'll check you off. That's all, KCT.
Are you the co-pilot on this trip?
You scare me a little bit. Yes, sir. You are pilot?
I am the pilot. Yes. We are ready to take off.
We are ready long time. Your papers are all right?
The manifest is all right. Yes.
I am Frenchy LeBlanc.
Yes.
Well,
KCT to LeBlanc on the line. Okay to take off. Ceiling unlimited. Visibility unlimited. Temperature 44. Dew point 28. Barometer 29-90. Okay to take off. KCT to LeBlanc. Bye.
LeBlanc to KCT. Merci, Shorty. I see you Thursday. LeBlanc to KCT. Bye.
Happy landings, Frenchy.
Pardonnez-moi, monsieur. You want to take off, eh?
I will take off. Yes.
Oui, voilà.
Up gear.
Up gear, sir.
You have checked everything, LeBlanc.
Oui, I have checked everything. We are all right. Just long buggy ride. 10 passengers, mail, express.
Right.
How you like this plane, huh?
All right.
Excuse me, I do not think I catch your name, please.
My name is Ott. Edward Ott.
I am pleased to meet you, Monsieur Ott. You know what? I think I remember that name. There was a pilot named Ott that died 2 weeks ago on east end of the line.
Is that so?
Oui, it is so. He is a relative of you, Monsieur Ott?
No, he is not relative.
So? You like me to fly her a little while?
No. I am pilot of this ship. I will do the flying.
Ça va, monsieur.
So, you did find me after all, Saladin. The very clever Saladin. Well, I think this time the very clever Saladin has had his last adventure, no?
I do not believe you will win, Alec.
No. I do, my dear enemy. I have not time now to find out you learned where my laboratory is. But there is time enough for that.
It is simple enough, Alec. You talked in your sleep, you see.
I remember now. I knew I had dreamed.
But I forbade you to remember, Alec.
Yeah, well, one little victory. I've waited a long time for this, Saladin.
Yes, and failed a great many times.
I will not fail this time.
What is written is written. I should be interested in how you caused that airplane to crash yesterday, Alec.
Yes. It was so simple, Saladin. I am amazed at a man of your attainment.
I think I know.
Well, I shall show you very soon. You will not tell anyone about it, I think.
I wonder.
They said there was no clue to the crash, Saladin.
Yes.
Would you like to know how?
I think I know.
Oh? Well,
you too know something of black magic?
I know a great deal of black magic, my friend. Shall I show you? Are you afraid of snakes, Saladin?
No, Eric.
Let us see. This bit of paper. Twist it. So. And you see it is but paper, Saladin. But now, look at it.
A cobra. You are clever, Alec. But look now. Harmless paper again.
No.
I am not entirely powerless, Alec, even though my hands are bound.
How did you? I thought that only one man in the world.
Perhaps I am the man, Alec. Look at the paper closely again.
I fear I underestimate.
You see? It really is the snake, Alec.
Curse you! I'll have your heart for that.
Perhaps. But perhaps you had better get to your zombies again.
Zombies? How did you know?
It is possible that I read your mind, Alec.
So. Well, you have guessed it. I told that fool Warner that I would smash every one of his planes. Now, even now, he is about to lose another.
So? And how do you propose to do it, may I ask?
Read my mind, Saladin.
You challenge me?
Yes.
Very well, then. I read this. A living dead man is at the controls of the ship you intend to destroy. I do not know how you propose to control him. Radio. So he is to crash the ship full of passengers near an airport where all can see. I wonder...
Saladin, until now I have regarded you as a meddler. A man foolishly staking his life against great odds. I am not so sure of the odds now. Saladin, you and I...
No, Alec. Between you and me, there can be nothing but enmity. We are set apart to fight one another forever.
Between us, we could rule the world. Tomorrow, Saladin.
No, between us, there is always war.
Well, so be it then. But look for no mercy from me. I will kill you as I would a rat, Saladin.
Agreed, if you can.
LeBlanc and Trip 5. LeBlanc and Trip 5. To Chicago. Special weather report, please. LeBlanc, E5. Bye for Chicago.
So, the first contact.
That is the ship, then?
That is the ship, yes.
That did not sound like the voice of a zombie, Alec.
No. That is Miller, the co-pilot. He does the bidding of my dead man. So, and now the little drama begins. Will you listen?
It is your drama. Now.
Quite so, my friend. I must get to work. Ehrlich, calling pilot up in Trip 5, Acme Airlines. Ehrlich, calling pilot up in Trip 5, Acme Airlines.
Out in Trip 5. I hear you.
Give your position.
5 miles southeast of Chicago.
Good. You will do as I tell you.
I will do as you tell me. Who is speaking, please? What is enough from you? Be silent. Yes, sir, but...
You are under pilot's orders, LeBlanc. You will do as you are told.
Oh, are you sacred? Silent. Yes, sir, but... Yes, sir.
Now up. When you arrive above the Chicago airport, you are to circle the field 3 times full motor.
I am to circle the field 3 times full motor.
And then when I give the word, you are to climb to 2,000 feet.
I am to climb to 2,000 feet.
And then I will tell you when.
You will tell me when.
And you will dive the ship full motor into the ground in the center of the field.
I will dive the ship full motor into the center of the field.
That is all.
Hello. Who is it that makes the...
Silence him.
Oh.
You have thought of everything, Eric.
Yes. This pilot, he died 2 weeks ago. I secured his body.
You add grave robbery to your other crimes.
But of course. I must have one that was a pilot. And he obeys without question, you see.
So far, yes. But you have not one yet.
I am close enough, Saladin.
I wonder.
Ut. Report your position.
Southwest of Chicago Airport. I can see the field.
Good. You are ready?
I am ready.
Your co-pilot?
He is here. He will not interfere.
Report when you are over the field.
I will report when I am over the field.
Alec, what would you do if I told your zombie what to do?
Ut. You are to obey only Eric's commands.
I will obey only Erlic's commands.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
Go ahead and try.
Leblanc? Leblanc?
Who calls?
Do you hear me, Leblanc?
I hear you.
Est-ce que vous avez un morceau de serre?
De serre, monsieur?
De serre, oui.
Peut-être, monsieur, mais pourquoi?
Stop. What did you say to him, Saladin?
You do not speak French, then, Erlich?
Of course. Certainly.
Then you know that I asked him merely if there was anything he could do. And he replied that he could not.
Of course. But why did you...
I'm afraid that you are about to win, Erlich.
You admit it, then?
I am sorry.
It is too late now. It is too late, Saladin. I offered to join forces with you once. But now I am the master.
Not reporting. I am over Chicago Airport now.
Good. Begin your circle.
I will begin my circles.
Now, friend Saladin, we shall see. Perhaps we shall even hear the screams, the dying screams of the passengers in this doomed ship. It is a wonderful invention, this radio. True magic.
Yes, it is true magic.
You will tell me when you are ready, Erlich.
I will tell you. Make your circles.
I am making a circle.
Do they see you on the field below?
Many people are coming out to watch.
Good. We will give them a show.
We will give them a show.
Leblanc. Leblanc.
Oui, monsieur?
You may speak to him as you wish, Saladin. It is too late now, and he is powerless.
Yes, I am afraid so, but... Leblanc, avez-vous des serres?
Oui, monsieur. Il y a des petits grains ici de mon déjeuner, mais pourquoi?
Écoutez, le pilote, c'est un loup-garou.
Hein? C'est vrai, monsieur, mais...
Écoutez, mettez les serres sur ses lèvres, dans sa bouche, comprenez? Vitement.
There is nothing you can do, Leblanc. Hot, are you ready?
I am ready.
Vitement, vitement, Leblanc.
Here, Miss Rock, taste a little of the salt.
Salt? What have you...
Listen.
Take over, Mr. LeBlanc. What? I take over. My work is done.
Hot! Hot! Come back! Come back, I say.
No. My work for you is done. I go now. I go home.
Come back. Come back. Come back, I say.
Monsieur, I was just in time, monsieur.
So, you did it, Saladin?
I did it, yes.
So, well, you have beaten me again. But this time...
It is too late, Erlich.
You think so? You do not know Erlich.
I know that...
Erlich is dead! Fool, you will not take it!
You are too late, gentlemen. I doubt that even Erlich could survive a 40-story fall.
Monsieur! Where are you, monsieur? Where are you?
I am here, Leblanc. What happened?
Monsieur, when I did put the salt on his lips, as you tell me in French, he did say to me, take over.
Yes, we heard him. Is the plane all right?
It is under control. I am circling.
Where is Ott? Where is the pilot?
I do not know. He left his seat and went up. A moment. Somebody is the fry.
Leblanc, what is it?
It is the cabin door. Someone has opened it. Ah!
Leblanc, what happened?
Monsieur, the pilot, he jumped out. He is falling. He is going to land on the long runway. Oh.
Leblanc, is your plane still all right?
Yes. I am all right. But I cannot land now. You understand. I will circle until I contact the control tower.
Of course, Leblanc. What is happening on the field?
People are running out toward the... Oh, mon Dieu, I...
Quick, Leblanc, what is it?
I do not believe what my eyes see. That broken dead body on the runway. Every bone in it must be smashed, but...
Yes, Leblanc. What is it?
That body, monsieur. It is crawling toward the cemetery that stands beside the field.
All right. You can turn them on now.
In tonight's cast, you heard Everett Clark as Saladin, Tony Parrish as Erlich, Meg Hahn as Irene, Duke Watson as Mr. Werner, Boris Aflon as Ott, Nathan Davis as LeBlanc, and Ernest Andrews as the radio operator. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Well, what did you think of that? The zombie, often portrayed as undead, flesh-eating, decaying corpse, has enjoyed a popularity surge in recent years. Whether they're devouring their prey in The Walking Dead or getting their groove on in Michael Jackson's Thriller video, zombies dominate pulp culture. But are zombies real? Unlike many other monsters, which are mostly the product of superstition, religion, and fear, zombies have a basis in fact, and several verified cases of zombies have been reported. The ancient Greeks may have been the first civilization terrorized by the fear of the undead. Archaeologists have unearthed many ancient graves which contain skeletons pinned down by rocks and other heavy objects, presumably to prevent the dead bodies from reanimating. Zombie folklore has been around for centuries in Haiti, originating in the 17th century when West African slaves were brought to work in the Haitian sugarcane plantations. Brutal conditions left the slaves longing for freedom. According to experts, the life, or rather afterlife, of a zombie represented the horrific plight of slavery. There are several credible reports in medical journals of people using certain compounds to induce paralysis in people and revive them from the grave. So you see, there truly is some truth in zombies.
Another public service announcement from Brill Cream. Men, beware. Use one dab of Brill Cream. Just a little dab makes your hair look excitingly clean, disturbingly healthy. This man dared to use 2 dabs. Now he's in trouble. We refuse to be responsible.
Brill Cream, Brill Cream, Brill Cream. Brill Cream, a little dab will do ya. Brill Cream, you look so debonair. Brill Cream, the gals will all pursue ya. They'll love to get their fingers in your hair. Use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Clean pots and pans, just like a whiz.
Ajax cuts grease faster than any other leading cleanser.
Use the pain, the elbow tax, when you start cleaning with Ajax.
Ajax really polishes as it cleans.
So use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Pump the dirt right down the drain.
My gosh, they're right. Foaming action Ajax makes even the dirtiest pan shine like new in a jiffy.
So use Ajax.
That was episode number 628, and I want to thank Melvin for shattering my Bigfoot notions, and Hoyt Maynard Jensen for a fantastic story this week. Truly interesting stuff. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.